once again. Erangel is done and dusted for the day. 1 through 3 games played. We're going to be coming back to Erangel for games 10, 11, and 12 to close out things. But now we are heading to the jungles of Senok.
Yeah, and we're going to see who's going to be the king of the jungle. Toffee saying potentially it might be Lazarus, and they finally showed up in match number 3. Will they continue that here into Sandhawk for match number 4? And one thing I want to point out going into this game now, Boro, is at the end of the game, at the conclusion, we're already a third of the way through.
It goes by so fast.
It does. And
it
it means for the teams that are at the bottom end of the standings, they need to find some kills and points in this game.
And that's the thing, is you look at this lobby, every single team in this 16-team lobby is capable of having a game like Lazarus just had, or like Gen G had in the first 2 games. Every single one can have one of these big multi-kill wins. The question is, can they do it in time?
Pinat?
Hello?
FaZe and Tempo Storm are going to be playing a game of cat and mouse potentially at Painan. Malouk with a nice little barrel roll onto the top of the building. M416 early for 8C. I wasn't expecting this to happen so early. For both of these 2 teams, this is such a vital exchange as Uber gets Malouk. Tempo Storm, well, the day goes from bad to worse. They're sitting in last place right now. This is maybe not the play that they should have taken.
This is your PEL champion from Phase 3 versus your NPL champion from every phase. And right now, the PEL is 1 kill up as Tempo Storm looks to regroup and turn their attention back towards FaZe. We see the circle has popped. We are going off to the east. It's always Quarry with you, isn't it?
It always happens to be. Every time I cast Senok, I get Quarry. But FaZe, are they not done here? I feel like they've got one. They know they've got the numbers advantage against Tempo Storm. Already looting up pretty quickly as well. Mexi just trying to keep an eye out towards this north side of Painan. Is he just going to jump from building to building? Yes, he is.
Other thing to keep an eye on here is QM. They are just off to the north, within listening, shouting distance of all this. They could at any time decide to come over here and third party into this. So Zampa, you can see they're looking every angle, making sure that they don't get pushed up on. Genesis, check in on them. They have the entirety of boot camp to themselves.
Yeah, I think it's good to note that for everyone else in this lobby, they're all looting by themselves. It's only Tempo Storm and FaZe with a potential early collision here on Sandhawk. Obviously, that's already taken place with Malouk being eliminated. Genesis getting boot camp to themselves. We've seen boot camp sort of fought over potentially in the past here so far at PGC. TSM coming in with an early rotation just to the west of boot camp. And still no exchange, though, between Tempo Storm and FaZe, except for the start.
Yeah, it looks like Tempo is really kind of buckled down and hunkered down, bunkered down in that southern side, or northern side, rather, of Painan. So no push coming out from FaZe. They don't really want to take the risk of losing one. They've got 1 free point off of it already. Might as well keep it at that. Genesis hopping in vehicles, making their way towards the center of the circle. We check in on GEX, and look how close they are to QM here.
The other thing as well for FaZe is you don't want to be sort of hanging around looking to try and finish off the rest of Tempo Storm. You want position on Sandhawk. It's so vital and important to get position early. 4 AM with a nice 2-2 split on either side of Quarry. I mean, that's the start you want here. W-Click, maybe it's going to be their game for the LATAM team, north side of Quarry. As you mentioned, the GEX QM close by. Genesis pushing out of boot camp are also potentially going to get involved here. You can see them off into the back distance there as Leo peeks out the window. Easy up top.
Yeah, it doesn't look like QM has any line of sight onto this. As you see Wufang and Easy at the top of the hillside here. Genesis just off to the south, or just off to the west rather, making their way across. This could, this could turn into a 3-way fight real quick.
Double tap from JRY onto Profi. He's going to fire back, but then goes now for the first aid kit. No nade, only 1 smoke. So utility is short there for Profi. Oh, Easy so close to JRY, and he just pops up out of the grass. Nice spray down. Oh, return fire though from Leo. And it's 1-for-1 between GEX and QM. Profi gets Liga. So QM coming off worst best right now. GY White finds Nerf at the rock, has only 1 nade, needs to be perfect with it. Genesis pushing up, QM in a disastrous position here, getting pinched from both sides.
Nerf had a huge flank coming through. Profi's going to find GYY. H went down to about 50% health. He's going to have to stop and heal up. Is Wu Fang now the last remaining member up, and he's trying to run from the Genesis squad, but GEX is still spread out. As we see Tempo and FaZe also started to pop back off again.
Dies down a little bit here between GEX, Genesis, and QM. As you mentioned, a knockdown onto FaZe from Tempo. That seems like that will all it will be, as Tempo Storm moving to the Crossroad instead. FaZe and the rest will be fine for FaZe. Genesis still, they keep pushing up to the compound though, and now potentially take on GEX. They might want to slow things down a little bit. As we've got all 4 members of 4AM actually have now grouped up. They've given up on their 2-2 split of Quarry. They're pushing over to the compounds that WClick are currently holding. And this Ace close by the minimap as well, Pyro. So this is the problem with Sanok. Any sort of fight that potentially drags out, or maybe takes too long to start, you're going to find yourselves getting third party pretty quickly.
WClick is actually getting run up on here, and they have no idea. As Entis Ace is coming up right behind it, ZGG is going to find Harold, and that's going to be a quick down and flush.
Harold down immediately. This is exactly what 4AM needed to push into these compounds, and WClick have no idea what's just hit them. Solzen looking out the window towards Xiaolu. Didn't find the angle though. And even a knockdown here is probably not going to convert into a kill. WClick on the low ground. Entis Ace watching from the woods where we saw 4AM pushing in from. Not only Entis Ace, but Entis Force pushing in as well. All happening on the eastern side of Quarry. The west side's quite congested too.
4AM has managed to move into the compound. Wayless is going to get taken out by Ragnar. Good shooting coming out from him. But can they get the res here?
Well, this is where now the third parties can take place. Joy might be the one to find the elimination onto Wayless with the frag grenade that he throws down. Kmart just found a double kill. Well, potentially, it's still only just a double knock. Joy spots Forever, pushing out of the building. And into the next one is ZGG trying to help out Wayless. Joy will continue to throw these nades. Got plenty of them. 2 remaining. Oh, ZGG, as he runs straight into it. Oh, he has. It's got him very low. Not enough to get the elimination. One more to follow, but he makes it inside of the hut to safety. And now for the first aid kit, they might just have to give up on Wayless.
Fights going on all over the place, but this is dead center circle. This is huge right now as 4AM.
Phase 2.
Looks like they're going to lose one player here, as I believe
Quarry
is going to bleed out. Yep, Quarry, as it centers up again. Meanwhile, VC Gaming still all the way out in the blue. They are taking their sweet time.
They get the revive on a Wayless as 4AM are able to deal with the onslaught from Joy's nades.
Oh, they got the res.
Yeah, they got the res. And now, Entis Ace have sort of just backed off a little bit here. Might be able to now allow 4AM to continue their mission over to WClick if they want to cross the road, which is always going to be quite risky. This is to the far north with Lazarus. Outside of the circle, being gate-kept by Na'Vi. Lot just got them pinned down. Headshot onto Luke 12. He was able to land a tag back, and that'll be enough for Best Lots to change position. Over to Genesis and FaZe now. First FaZe dealing with Tempo Storm. Now they're going to deal with Genesis. Mexi lands quite a few tags onto Nerf. Gets him low. Uber needs to heal up as well. FaZe actually quite injured here. But they're in an amazing position with how these circles are translating right now.
And you see the remnants of Tempo running away there. I think they still have 2 players up. Losing 2 in a engagement between FaZe and Genesis here. As we see Lazarus going to hop in the vehicle. They're trying to get around and outside of the scope of Na'Vi here. Trying to find some way to get inside this circle, but they do have T1 just off to their west. And again, yeah, VC.
Just bringing your attention to VC right now, where they're at Heart-In, still deep into the blue here, which is about to start moving again right now as well. 2 minutes till phase number 3. Let's go and have a look at Lazarus's looting location at Paradise Resort.
Quick and easy as you like, as they covered pretty much the entirety of the resort. And now Luke +1 Alo trying to see if they can get around, but I don't think they know the T1's here.
Very, very dangerous with 2 in here, Alo and Luke 12. They are going to pull off actually perfect timing, but they still don't know that T1 are close by. Ad is going to open it up. Wow, so quick. Tried to go for the transfer onto Luke 12 rather than the flush. Now primes the frag grenade. Luke 12's in a world hurt. He's immediately knocked down. T1 clean and precise onto Lazarus. Off the back of a decent game in match 3, they're down to 2 players into match 4.
Lazarus in a really rough spot there. They had to do something to try to get away from the guns of Na'Vi, but unfortunately they over-rotate a little bit too far, run right into T1. That's going to be them down to 2, but fortunately for them, it looks like Purdy Curdy and Uncivil going to be able to make it in just fine. VC finally deciding to join the game.
Well, it is only phase 2, so it's still only 1 damage, or roughly 1 damage per second.
Well, they're sitting on a ton of health here. I mean, you can see 10 bandages, 3 health kits. They should be all right. They're coming in for, it looks like a long wrap all the way around to the east side, so smart play, realizing that the north and the west most likely going to be pretty packed right now.
You just wonder where they're going to decide their entry point, though. Will it be into Na'Vi? That could be disastrous, potentially. As Entis Ace will find themselves a crate, at least for Joy. 24 seconds till phase 3. Will this continue on to Quarry? If it does, W-click for him, still holding their previous positions from what we saw before. So is FaZe and Genesis as well on the other side. As we go back over to T1, who have potentially found the last 2 members of Lazarus, Purdy Curdy and Uncivil, waiting. They've got the information on T1. This time, things have turned around. Never mind, it hasn't at all. Uncivil spotted immediately by Jeff Locker. Only Purdy Curdy remains for Lazarus inside of the hut. Circle goes north. Quarry still in, it's on the south side. GX actually a really decent compound on the north side of Quarry. Na'Vi are going to pull back as well, just to the west of Barn.
Also, we're noted FaZe Clan held 4 up still. They have a compound just to the west of Quarry right now. As GEX going to turn their attention to T1. Adder is going to get down and flushed by Purdy. He's going to get 1 point for Lazarus, even though they do go out in 16th place.
1 point enough, though. I don't think it is. It's not good enough for Lazarus. They won't be happy with that performance on Sandhawk. Na'Vi and Gen G. Bestalot opens it up with a knockdown onto Esther. Aduzi holding the backside as Taman just throws in a wild nade. He doesn't have the information, but he's just trying to find some. You can see how close Aduzi is to pushing on to Gen G as Loki goes for the revive onto Esther.
Actually
holding in pairs of 2 for Gen G.
It's huge for them to be able to get that res off. Na'Vi not in a position to really push the down. So you can see they've instead taken that time to spread out and kind of wrap around the entire squad here.
Nades continue to be thrown out. Pio's only got 1 more remaining. Gen G started so well in the first 2 matches. Match 3 was only 1 point. Potentially, if they get wiped by Na'Vi here, it might be back-to-back 1 point. Oh, headshot from Bestalot, but it's not enough to get the knockdown. Pio, 32 health, throws out the nade, but again, it's wild, it's not precise. It's not towards a Na'Vi player. And Bestalot is able to still hold his position for Na'Vi. Minute 20 seconds till phase number 4. As a lot of teams haven't actually moved that much here based off this phase 3 circle. Aduzi still holds the angle. Still has 2 smokes. And there's one, or actually a couple of smokes here in the center of this compound, but they are starting to dissipate shortly.
Yeah, no grenades left for the front man here. Aduzi has spent everything. Bestalog looks like he's still trying to throw stuff. That's going to be a smoke for right now, but Gen G is completely surrounded. Look at this. Senya is going to get that down onto Loki, and this could be the signal for Aduzi to go.
Pio was making the mad dash, and he gets knocked down by Pokemoloid. Na'Vi have turned it around here onto Gen G. Taman and Esther, all that remains still inside of the main shack. And that means Senya's being able to move up. And Na'Vi can potentially send Gen G backing out super early, potentially with 0 kills, Poro. And this is going to really widen the race for first place once again, almost resetting after the first 2 matches.
Absolutely huge. They still have these 2 kills left to get, though. Esther gets taken extremely low. You can see this is also being overseen by Entis Ace. They keep sending shots over this way, which may be preventing Na'Vi from pushing, but Senya with a great grenade onto Esther. Taman now the last one up.
Oh, he doesn't quite make it into the window. That might have actually gone to the back room and got Taman holding the window position. Na'Vi have dealt with 3. 1 remains. It's Taman. This fight has dragged out, but because they're at the compound, no one's actually pushed up to them. There's our phase 4 circle. It's good news for Na'Vi. Once they deal with Gen G, they've got the compound as well. This might just be their game. Nate thrown in. No, never mind, it's a smoke. And now they're just going to push in, though. Bestalot with the QBC. He's going to stop that revive. Na'Vi send Gen G out in 15th position with 0 kills, 0 points. And again, for first place, stays at 43. The target remains the same.
Big plays coming out from Na'Vi there. They have center compound now, or as center as you're going to get here, and they take out Gen G in the process. Huge news for everybody in entire game as we see Rumblers now trying to figure out how they're going to make their way in from the south.
Force pushing up towards the buildings of W Click and 4AM. FaZe have actually vacated. That's where Rumblers have pushed up to. Still no movement from Genesis. This is around the Quarry region. TSM out to the west. They might find themselves pinched between FaZe and potentially GEX on that compound if they don't push into the compound and take the fight early. FaZe will be pushing up from behind them, trying to cross the road first though without being spotted by either Rumblers or Genesis. Again, North America always just seems to find North America. Cherry popping with a knockdown as a sharp shot as Gustav does in fact spot Mexi.
Yeah, the south side is an absolute mess right now. TSM holding court over things from this hillside. You can see they're getting the downs on a FaZe. FaZe trying to make their way up, but TSM has such good positioning right now. Multiple lines of sight onto this.
FaZe, I know FaZe Sunday is a real thing, I believe now, but you don't want to leave it all to FaZe Sunday. You've got to get some points here today on Saturday, and right now they're not getting any. As 8C will go down, only Uber and Fuzzface remain. They need to still push into the circle. They haven't even achieved that yet, and that blue is moving. 57 seconds till phase 5. TSM in a better position, but they're still not in a grand position either. But they're in a spot where they can wipe out the rest of FaZe. Microfry pushing into Quarry. This is less than ideal. Zampa's been knocked down though. Sharp shot extremely low, and the last one standing for Tempo Storm on the bottom of the overall rankings with 4 points. And they will remain on the bottom of the rankings with 4 points.
Rumblers still have 3 up. They have the time here to get the res onto Cherry Poppins. Once they do, they have to get across the street that's being overseen by Genesis. They are not out of the woods by any means just yet here.
Uber, this is a rough spot to be in for both himself and Fuzzface. TSM still holding higher, watching, waiting for FaZe to make their move. They might just give this up and say, you know what, we don't have a play here. Side of the blue, deny points to TSM. It's not very nice, but it is a play, and probably the only play that FaZe had. South we go towards W Click in 4AM. 4AM have been catching up to Gen G so far after those first 2 games. This might be the game where they might almost tie them, Poro, if it continues in this sort of direction.
This is really rough here for Rumblers as you see what they're having to push into. Entis Force has the low ground. W Click has the compound on the west side of the street. 4AM, meanwhile, just sending all types of shots across the way.
FaZe have moved, by the way. They're not going to die to the blue. They were just healing up, trying to wait for TSM to move. Coming in extremely late. They actually might go into Genesis as Cherry Pop and Microfry both eliminated separately. ZGG and Kale. And just Force inside of North Quarry. Fuzzface knocked down. He does get a return from Uber. Finds the flush onto Profi. It's 1 extra point that they wouldn't have got, but they still go in 12th. And it's still not enough. And TSM with 5 kills now, thanks to Rory. H-Win's close by. That might make it kill number 6.
H-Win's just going to run for it. He's going to play the cliff's edge. Try to stay alive for a little bit longer, but you can see going down there just exposes you to a whole different team.
And this is where TSM have got to be making sure they're not kill happy. They've got to go for position as well. They're still out to the far west. We've seen Gustav knocked down by Xiaolu. 4AM, great position as a doozy finds a double onto Domu and Summer. They're going to be cleaned up by Pokemolodo and Alpaca. Mickey with a nade towards Tide. Will be this potential to clean him up? Yes, it will. Mickey confirms the kill for Ace.
Na'Vi coming alive in this game, and you love to see it here as they still have a compound in on the very northern side. It's going to be a question of whether what this next circle shift cuts out. If it cuts out the south side, it's going to be crazy.
Over towards the northwest, GEX and T1.
Indigo resing Rory. Quick shots coming out from a COD.
Able to get shot away. Kane knocked down as well. GEX down to Sophia. Sophia is inside of the circle in the compound as well. Gustav knocked down again. That's his second knock. That's from Forever. 4AM doing a lot of work from that higher ground position in that compound south, just near Quarry. It is quite elevated compared to, say, for example, W Click. What this is going to mean is W Click are not going to be able to really get kills because they don't have the vision that 4AM have got, which is why you're seeing 4AM in the kill feed. It's why they're now only 11 points behind Gen G on the total rankings. 10 teams remain at the 19-minute mark of Sandhawk match 4. Sophia holding on for dear life as the cat is kind of doing the same for T1. Na'Vi, this is their game so far now. Iroh's eliminated by Wufang.
Oh, Wufang's still alive.
Doors open, bye-bye.
Oh, good night, sir. Sophia going to be taken out quick there by a COD. That's 7 kills now for T1, turning up now in Sandhawk. But Wu Fang, as we were mentioning, the last player alive for QM from quite some time ago, has just been hanging out in this compound, or this shed rather.
Oh, spots Michael too as well. Wu Feng from a high ground position is smoked up. Inside, jumps out. Michael going for the first aid kit, 30 health. Wu Feng is almost like James Bond at the moment, just running around, trying to peek and shoot from every angle. Just going to vacate the area completely, try and stay alive, get into the placement points. Senya knocked down by Mickey. The nade from Michael. He doesn't realize, though, that it's been vacated. He throws another one, still expecting, because he hasn't landed the first two, he actually still thinks he's in there.
Wu Fang managing to stay alive. He's playing the rocks. Look at this Navi, though.
Oh, no.
Things have turned completely against them. They had to wrap around the north side, but they ran into...
Well, they didn't run into anyone. NTSA spotted them from the other side of the map. This is Sandhawk
huge.
after all. The angles and the way that the terrain is means you could be completely eliminated from the other side of the map without even realizing it. No chance for a card. Pokemon stays alive for Navi. 5 kills, gets them into the top 7 teams remaining. Make it 6 now, because there goes Michael. Finally, stayed alive long enough, though, for TSM to at least get some extra points. At one point, it almost looked like he might go at 9th out of 5 teams. Oh, they just go 1 by 1.
Wu Fang got picked off there as well, so Pokemon finding himself all alone. He does have Rang staring down at him. The new circle has popped 4 a.m. Looks like they might be trying to make a wrap here. Wayless has already made his way to the street.
Enters Ace, enters Force, 4 a.m., Navi, and W-Click. Massive game potentially for W-Click here as well. 4 points gained so far. Enters Force, obviously, and along with Enters Ace and 4 a.m., they're the 3 that are catching up to Gen G here off the back of the last 2 games of Gen G's performance. Silson so low, 2 health, Wayless with a triple tap. The nade towards Doya, not enough to get the knockdown. Half health gets towards Indigo, the MVP of Enters Force. You can see the total rankings to your left of screen, and Gen G no longer holding a significant advantage. Wayless with a knockdown onto Silson. W-Click in 14th position with just 9 points, needs to try and capitalize from this game. Rybo will get Rybo will get forever. 4 angry men are down to 2 angry men with ZGG and Xiao Lu on the edge of the blue. And potentially, Enters Ace have been fed this game. They are in the prime pole position.
They just managed to steal away all those kills from W-Click as well. Rybo now the last one up. You see Song Jiang is hiding just on the corner here. Doya trying to get some kind of angle to give him some protection, but 4 a.m. starting to make their push here, but Enters Ace has them dead to rights.
They are gone out 4th place, and I think this one just about wrapped up. Doya's in a decent position, but Enters Ace are in the best position. 2 left for 4 a.m., although they're going to go out here. Doya picks up 1. ZGG denies himself, though, at least. 9 kills for Ace, going up against the sister team, Enters Force.
This is a huge, huge game for Enters Ace, and this is going to be really rough for Enters Force to push anything here, as Ace does have all 4 up. They have a compound, but we've seen magic happen before with these Korean teams.
The real question is, Song Jiang, Doya, do you have smokes? Are you able to forge a path forward towards Enters Ace? Obviously, still the downside is, the fact is, it's a 2v4. Open the shots up is from Ace. Song Jiang gets to the rock, needs to find a knockdown. Doya gets Joy. This is going to help out. Never mind. Mickey will be able to get Song Jiang, and that will be the end of it for match 4 on Sandhawk. It's OGN Enters Ace.